Hey guys, I'm so excited to share with you today this 9-pound box that I received from 5 in a row. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and share with you the goodies they sent. So if you're not familiar with the company, 5 in a row is a long-standing, wonderful company that provides guides that go with different literature. I believe they started with the younger ages where you would read a picture book 5 days in a row, and each day you would do a different activity to go along with it. So these are the little discs that you would get for the books that you read, and they had, I think, like a whole chart where you would cut them out, and like this one I'm guessing is like Wizard of Oz or what have you, how to bake an apple pie and see the world, stuff like that. So this is so cute. They sent me a bunch of different stuff because if you are familiar with my channel, you know I have 6 kids and they're all different ages. And so we're just going to look through them a little bit. First, I'll look and see what we got. So this is volume 3 story disc. So this is 5 in a row volume 3. So that goes with that. Then this is 5 in a row volume 4. And so they came out with subsequent volumes because like once you read the 10 or so books with like volume 1, then you would want different ones, right? So this is 5 in a row volume 5. And the just so you know, you can't really tell, but the printing on this cover is that really soft vellum or velour type printing. This is volume 7, which I believe is for older ages. Then we have nature studies. This is what I just recently saw that they came out with, and I just fell in love with, excuse me, this particular volume. So I'm really excited to get into that. Before we get there, let's start with volume 3, which was the first book we had here. And let's just take a look at the like table of contents and see if we can reveal more of what's in here. So as you can see, this is for ages 5 through 9. So that's like kindergarten through 3rd or 4th grade. And these are all relatively new. So here are the books that are included in this volume. The Bee Tree, Andy and the Circus, The Wild Horses of Sweetbriar, Paul Revere's Ride, Henry the Castaway, The Finest Horse in Town, Truman's Aunt Farm, that's a pun, The Duchess Bakes a Cake, Andy and the Lion, Daniel's Duck, Warm as Wool, The Salamander Room, Climbing Kansas Mountains, Amber on the Mountain, Little Nino's Pizzeria, and The Old Woman Who Named Things. So we've got the introduction, and then each of these books has its own unit. So that means it's going to be coming with activities for you to do for those 5 days based on that literature selection. Then you have a review week, then the story discs, which are these. Then there are, sorry, we got out of focus there. Then we've got the blank discs, which you can reproduce and make your own. Sample lesson planning sheet, which I want to show you. And then there's kind of more broad stuff. And then there's integrating additional curricula with 5 in a row and parts of a flag. So let's go ahead and look at the Salamander Room, because I've read that one. So let's go to page 151 and see what that looks like, because I'm really excited to show you guys what an actual 5 in a row lesson looks like. So here's the main page. You've got the name of the book, the year it was copyrighted, the awards it may have won, and then there's a summary of the book. So the way that it typically works for 5 in a row lessons is you have different, the different subjects that you cover within the book. So for example, here you have social studies, relationship between mother and a child, and it gives you some kind of prompts for you to work through before you read it. Then you have a language arts assignment you can do. Then you've got a language arts setting. You're learning about setting, learning about parallel construction, reading for knowledge, art, math, science, all out of this one book. Then we've got a scavenger hunt that comes from this book. So if you're not familiar with it, it's about the things that a salamander needs for in order to keep it. And so all of these different things are all relating back to this one book that we've read. And then you've got teacher's notes, you've got the life cycle of an amphibian, you've got scavenger hunt bingo, you've got list making. These are all for those prior assignments that we were just looking at. They're giving you these different worksheets to use to build out the activity. So that is the salamander room, and that is one example of a week where you could do 5 in a row. So one of the things that I really like about this, and you don't necessarily have to read the book 5 days in a row, right? That's totally up to you. But in many cases, if children love books, they're going to want to hear it multiple times. But the point is you're really expanding on the content of whatever the book is that you're reading. And the books that 5 in a row is going to be choosing are going to be high quality, typically classics, where there's just a really rich opportunity to expand on it. So you don't have to worry about, I wouldn't want to use the word twaddle, but I think you guys know what I'm saying in terms of the book selections are going to be really good. So you don't have to fret about whether there's going to be enough to build from. So that's volume 3. Then let's look actually at the end of this. I wanted to see, so these are the blank story discs. Then you've got a sample. This is a sample lesson planning sheet. So here they're using the example of one of the books from here, and it's telling you on Monday you can do social studies, and here's what you'll do for that particular book. On Tuesday you can do language arts, Wednesday's art, Thursday's math, Friday's science. This is excellent for probably any of the elementary ages that you're going to be using this with, to have a very robust amount of gentle instruction and based off of stories that they're going to love. And then here's a blank one. So you can reproduce this and use it for each of the books or whatever you're doing. After, one thing that my friend said probably like 10 years ago about 5 in a row is that once you get into the rhythm of figuring out how to build lessons from a picture book based on their showing you how to do it, you can really do this with any book. So that is one of the strengths of using this curriculum, aside from the particular books that they're showing, is like learning this new way of approaching lesson planning, I guess, especially if you're a new homeschooler. So there's that. Then they have stuff about finding it. Here they have how to incorporate additional curriculum with 5 in a row. So this is if you don't want to just do the gentle introduction and solely do the 5 in a row lesson, like perhaps you're with a charter school or perhaps you're trying to do like a more classical approach. In any case, especially if you have older students that are closer to that 3rd or 4th grade level and you want to do more lessons than just 5 in a row, it's giving you examples here for how you could build out that schedule. So first you could do your math, then your phonics, then you do your 5 in a row. So I think this is a really good recommendation just as a veteran homeschooler, that they're showing you how to approach that situation. And then here they're just giving you the tips to read on how to do that. Then you've got stuff about a flag, and then here is the index. So you've got lots of different states that are covered. And this particular one, I know we just went through the book titles, but this is really cool. I was just going to say, it seems like there's a lot of history books in here, social studies. Like I saw Paul Revere's Ride or Revere and I or whatever it's called. I'm reading both of those books. So I can't remember which one it said. It seems like there's a lot of social studies in here in particular. So if you're looking specifically for that, this would be a good volume. So they have the index broken down by relationships, history, flags, language, art. So this is really great too, because if you see this book list in the beginning and you know that it looks good, here it's telling you how you can break it up. Or if you're looking for a particular concept, like say you're with a charter, you can see which standards or whatever you need a sample for. It's just a really helpful format. So let's move on to volume 4, just because I need to know what books are in here. Okay. And I'm not going to go all the way through it again because it's got some similar aspects as the one we just went through. But let's go through the books. So we've got Roxaboxen, The Tree Lady, The Pumpkin Runner, Hannah's Cold Winter, Albert, Mailing May, this is a darling book, Cowboy Charlie, and Grass Sandals. And then there's 2 or 3 bonus unit studies, The Hickory Chair, Arabella, and Higgins Bend Song and Dance. And then the kind of bonus instruction that they have in here is perspective drawing for depth. So it looks like each one of these volumes has like a little bonus instruction for the parent at the end. So let's look at Mailing May, because that is just a darling book. It is about during the times of the railroad, there was a prohibition against mailing, or there was no prohibition against mailing live animals or something, but so someone used the ability to mail them and mailed a child named May. We learned about this at the Train Museum. And so, it was actually written in 1997, but it was about back then, back during when the railroad was like relatively new and the postal delivery and things like that. So here it says, Mailing May allows your student to make discoveries about the state of Idaho. If you're studying the state for the first time, you may want to start by asking, in our story today, May traveled to Grandma Mary's across the state of Idaho. Do you know anything special about this state? Can you find it on a map? And so this is like scaffolding for the parent, kind of scripting it a little bit, and it's got lots of background information about Idaho. And again, you've got the same situation where you're building out social studies, especially social studies in this one. And this may just be like a social studies book. And then you've got some language arts, but really heavy, lots of opportunities because you're talking about the Transcontinental Railroad. You're talking about the implementation of the post office. You could really do a whole thing about like communities. I know that's one of the state standards for first grade, for example. Just really excellent. And then you've got talking about art and writing historical fiction and what does that mean? So that's really, I just love that. I love that particular book. Okay, so that is volume 4, and here's where did I put the story? There are the story discs. I'm guessing this one is for mailing. Oh no, this is for Mailing May. You've got a little mail bag, which they didn't actually put her in a mail bag. She just sat in the mail car of the train. And then we have volume 5. I wonder if this is Curious George or a desert book. Can you guys guess the books based off of these pictures? I wonder if that's Snowflake Bentley. Okay, let's look. And this one looks really thick, so I'm kind of interested to see why that's the case. Oh, let's check that. So volume 5 is for ages 10 to 12. Volume 4, let's see what ages this is for. Oh, volume 4 is for ages 9 to 10. So I think you could see the difference between volume 3 and 4 in terms of the robustness of the social studies options for this one that we just looked at with Mailing May. So now we're going to look at volume 5, which is for slightly older. So as you can see, the volumes are in ascending age order. So 1, 2, and 3 are for the younger kids. Volume 4 is slightly older, and volume 5 is older than that. And here it says Inspired Learning Through Great Books. So there you go. All right, so here we have chapter books. We've got the Boxcar Children, well, not necessarily. This one is a chapter book. The Boxcar Children, The Raft, Snowflake Bentley, yes, I was right. Betsy Ross, Designer of Our Flag, The Gully Washer, Minette's Feast. So these are all, well, The Raft is kind of a science book. Snowflake Bentley, science too, actually. So we've got social studies and science, a robust mix. And then we have bonus unit studies. Angelo, Paper Lanterns, The Harvest of the Bravest of Us All, and The Hatmaker's Sign. Then we've got, again, the story discs. And then this one's got a literary glossary. Interesting. Blank chapter book lesson plan. So I will definitely be showing you guys those. And again, we've got perspectives, principles for drawing depth, and a supplemental book list. That is very exciting. And scope of topics for chapter books. So I won't show you the supplemental book list because I feel like it's worth purchasing this to get that supplemental list. I don't feel like that's something you're going to be able to get on your own. But I do want to show you, like I said, the blank chapter book lesson planning sheet. Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. Let's go ahead and look at the Boxcar Children because that's a pretty well-known one. And I'll show you how 5 in a Row does chapter books. Okay. So this is broken down by chapter, it looks like. And you've got the teacher's summary, so that's for you to read. And then here's what will be covered in the chapter. This is I really like the change in format here, the overview. So meal planning and proper nutrition, health and cleanliness, creative writing, writing and discussion question, vocabulary and learning to listen. Lots of great information here. Then we've got chapter 2. That is amazing. So that is why this is going to be a thicker oh my gosh, how homeschool is this? This is going to be really just a great, oh, this is so good. I think I might have to immediately do this with my children, to be honest with you. I'm just so impressed. Okay, so here you can see, I've seen, for example, a breakout curriculum where they do the American Girl books and they build a whole curriculum around that. But what they've done for you is they're really building the curriculum around several different unrelated books. So I think that's really a strong option if you're looking for something different for your student that's not the traditional options. Okay, so this is the same lesson planning sheet that we saw for the younger kids. Now we've got the chapter book sample lesson plan. So you've got whichever book you're doing, the author, and we're doing it by week. Sorry about that. I had to let the barking dog in. So they have it broken down here. Let's read through this before I talk some more. Boxcar Children has more suggested lessons per chapter than you'll probably want to or be able to cover. The sample planning sheets below show ideas that could be chosen for the first 2 weeks. So here they're going through not only chapter 1, but chapter 2 as well. So they're doing half of the week is one chapter and then half of the week is the second chapter. So I think that's a happy medium, especially I've got 6 kids. I would say doing 2 chapters a week is realistic. Is like not necessarily conservative, but is not too overly aggressive. I think that if you want to really be able to slow down and enjoy homeschooling, you could easily do 1 chapter per week, especially if you've got a lot of other things going on at the time. But I think 2 chapters a week is a really realistic goal for lots of children. And if you only have 1 student, you could probably do 3 chapters a week and the activities that are listed. But to be honest with you, the activities that they showed are so robust that, I mean, I might even consider doing all of them over the course of a month. I might read the subsequent chapters, but those particular activities look so interesting and exciting and relevant, probably because this book is really like an interesting book. If you haven't read it, the basic concept is these 4 or 5 children are orphaned and then they go live in a boxcar and they're living, kind of on the land type of a concept while still having this sort of relationship to their local community, but they have to basically do everything for themselves. So that's why there's stuff like building a fire and learning about nutrition and things like that. Spoiler alert, chapter 1, they're buying bread from a bakery and that's all they're eating, right? So I'm guessing that's where that part comes from. But anyway, I think this is a great tool, especially if you're new to homeschooling and you're really looking for additional scaffolding and hand-holding. I think this is really going to be a good option for you. So that is that. And then let's look at this, which is actually like a little ad at the end. So originally we had 5 in a row. I think there was only 1 volume and then they created more, but then they created, I'm pretty sure this is the order it went in. They created before 5 in a row and more before. So this is for younger kiddos. And then they later created it's not in here, but the older 5 in a row. So that's the levels 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's still called 5 in a row, but it's really a different program. And then they also have Bible supplements if that's something that you're interested in. And you can also get the full color laminated story discs like the ones I showed you guys, which I think is a really cute thing to do. You could put these in your planner, your kids could collect them or make a chart, whatever. And then there are also digital resources. So there are mini units, which I have received 3 of these, and I will be sharing them with you guys after we work through them. Then they have a 5 in a row planner, which I didn't actually know about. The 5 in a row combined family and academic planner was created to give you access to school planning pages specific to the 5 in a row curriculum. So I will definitely be checking that out. And then there's a notebook builder, which I will definitely also be checking out. More than 120 pages of notebooking templates for all ages, appropriate for any topic or unit of study. So get those notebook pages, slap it together with one of these curriculums, and you're really all set. And then this last one, which I think is the newest, is the 5 in a row nature studies. So that's what we're going to turn to next, because I cannot wait any longer. Okay, so here we have fall and winter. Let's go ahead and look at the table of contents. Oh, darling. Okay, so we've got nature journaling, tips for nature walks, winter study resources. This is just so darling. Then you've got stuff specific to fall, stuff specific to winter. So I can already see this is not going to be a secular curriculum. However, it may be the case that you can skip over this chapter, but just to flag this for people who are in charters, this may not be covered on that basis. But I know that many of you who watch my channel are Christian homeschoolers, so this might actually be exciting to you. Let's go ahead and just flip to a random thing. Okay, so here's winter skies, and look at this beautiful full color page of the constellation Orion. Love that. Wow, this is so cool. This is like your curriculum. This is like you don't even need a separate book. You can just read from this to your children and show them these pictures. Love that. Oh, and here you have an excerpt from the fall of the year that you read to your kids. That's so cool. I love this. I wish I had this in winter. I would have absolutely done this with our kids. With my kids, I mean, sorry. So, wow. This is really great. Okay, so to summarize, this has some amazing things, really open and go for winter, and probably also fall, but we looked at winter, but I did see some biblical quotations. So keep that in mind if you're not interested in that, or keep that in mind if you are interested in that. And then we will take a look at the spring and summer. And by the way, I think 5 in a Row is a Christian company, so it's not like I'm surprised, but for those of you watching this who may not be familiar with them, that would be good to know. And here we have tips for nature walks in spring, tips for nature walks in summer, and then some season-specific things. Oh, look at that. Life lists of birds, trees, and insects. That's just so darling. Okay, so this is the same format as what we had just looked at. We saw the winter skies, poetry and quotes, and then art for summer. So it looks like it's a similar layout. So I want to go to spring trees and plants. Let's go to page 44. And I see some music in here. Oh, this is just so beautifully done. Okay, trees and plants in spring. I'm just going to start using this, just so you know. This will make my botany study much easier. Oh, beautiful. Lichen, rocks. Wow. I've never seen anything like this. That's why I'm just, I'm blown away, honestly. Okay, here's some more information on the back of this and what it includes. I don't want to show too much, but I'm going to be flipping through this some more after, just so you guys know. Okay, so that is the nature study. These are brand new. It really looks open and go, and it looks really great for whether you have 1 or 2 students or you have a large group of students. I can already see that there's topics in here that you could read through here for your younger kids and then dive into more in-depth projects for your older ones. So if you are in a rut, as many people get into in the early spring before the weather clears, and you're looking for something to change up your homeschooling, this is it, I'm telling you. You're welcome. And then the last wonderful book that we're going to look through is volume 7, which is going to be for the older kids. And let's look at the first page of it for the age group. So 10 to 11, or 10 to 12, sorry. So we looked at, what volume was that, 5? So volumes, it looks like 5, 6, and 7 are ages 10 to 12. And here are the books: Helen Keller, Skylark, Story of George Washington Carver, and The Cricket in Times Square. And then we've got, again, a supplemental book list and the scope of the topics. So let's look at that real quick, because that could be great for those of you who are in charters. Let me see. Is it 278? Okay, so here's the scope of topics, and this is going to be great if you're in a charter, because you're covering all of these things, and some of these are actually state standard type things, or same thing with science, right? We're learning about water tables or oceans or genetics or what have you. And that's just for Helen Keller. So it's got that for each of the books. And then let's take a look at the Helen Keller page. And by the way, the supplemental book list I just quickly saw has additional books per topic, like a whole list of them. So, okay, we've got the book Helen Keller. This is a very common biography. I mean, you know, obviously it's a person that we all know. But the book Helen Keller is very commonly assigned across many, many curriculums. So again, we've got this chapter book format. So chapter 1, A Strange Fever. Here's a summary of the chapter before you read, which is often called like a captain idea, I think, to introduce to your student before you read. Then in this chapter, we're going to cover these different social studies, science, language arts. Oh yeah, Mary Ingalls, if you didn't know, was also blinded by scarlet fever. Spoiler alert for the Little House books. Then we've got language arts and fine arts, making toys for children. So let's just flip through this first situation. So we've got a lot of great stuff. Let's see what happens at the end of this book. Okay, so let's just look at these activities. So we've got the human eye, then we have information about a biography, the 5 senses. So for each chapter, it looks like there is a worksheet. So I love that. I love that, especially for those of you that are in a charter, because this would be a lifesaver for you. And then we get right into the next lesson. Let's see. Let's look at this lastly. How to use 5 in a row, volume 7 on page 10. Okay. So in 5 in a row chapter books, you'll no longer be studying certain academic subjects on particular days of the week, as you did in the early volumes of 5 in a row curriculum. Instead, you'll be guiding your student into a variety of areas each week. Some weeks will have a heavier emphasis on science, while others may have a greater emphasis on fine arts, for example. What you study each week derives directly from what chapter you've just read at the time. Overall, your student will receive a comprehensive education in 5 principal areas, which are social studies, science, language arts, which includes writing and discussion questions and vocabulary, among other topics, fine arts, and life skills, including human relationships, problem solving, and personal development, among other topics. So that is the difference between the volumes for the older kids and the younger ones. And then the last thing it says, in each chapter's list of what we will cover in this chapter, you'll see one lesson is marked with an asterisk. This indicates, oh, this is cool. There's an activity sheet for the lesson at the end of the chapter book unit. So that is what that asterisk means, which we saw here. And then we saw that there is a worksheet for a diagram of the eye. So that is the chapter, volume 7. And here is some information about the 5 in a row approach. And it highlights what is new in this volume. So that is the conclusion of the wonderful 5 in a row materials, which they so wonderfully sent me to share with you guys and also to try in our homeschool. And like I said, I am so excited, honestly, for the nature study. I am also excited about the older ones too, because I've been looking for additional language arts and worksheet activities for my student, which aren't too much, but are showing what he's learned, if that makes sense. Like sort of an assessment or like a record, because we do a lot of written narrations, but we don't do a lot of work since we're no longer, we don't do a lot of written proof type work since we're no longer in a charter. I'm not crazy about work samples. I can, verbally assess my student, but I have been looking for something that is more concrete to have to show for it. So I'm really excited about that. And also, of course, I love picture books. You guys know that. So I really look forward to digging into some of these books, which we haven't read, as well as looking at the supplemental book list. I love all the book lists. Give me all the book lists. And 5 in a row is a very affordable option for those of you who are looking for something that covers all the bases, is relatively open and go. I mean, look, you don't even have to do any planning. Everything is there written for you. It's even scripted and even with some worksheets. So that's really exciting. So thanks you guys for watching this video. Thank you so much to 5 in a row for sending me all of these lovely materials. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you posted on how this goes in our homeschool.